So what I'd ask you guys to do now is just have a little bit of a think. With where you're at right now and everything that's going on, if there was one question that you would love to know the answer for, or two, more importantly, what would that question be? So just have a little ponder. We'll put on some thinking music. It's all right, John, I've got something royalty free. That's not so bad. Have a little bit of a think about it.
So this is a question from Miles. His question is, do you believe service trades will be kept engaged if there's a lockdown?
It's too early to say, because there are going to be certain trades and services businesses that will be required to, I believe, to remain operational. And so I guess what I would be saying at this point is really just, if you're in any services business that you believe will be affected by the shutdown, you've got to get your 4-phase planning. And look, I know I had someone yesterday ask me a question. I just want to address this really, really openly, because I was trying to dish out a lesson, but I think it may have been received the wrong way. Hang on one second. Someone was just saying yesterday in terms of me saying figure it out. Right now, because what I'm saying is we've got to figure it out. We're in a situation where we've never been before. And when I say things like you just got to figure it out, please understand, guys, it's not that I'm trying to withhold information from you. I'm actually trying to coach you. So when I say figure it out, what I'm wanting you to do is work it out, okay? Because one of the bad habits that we can get into in this environment is where we constantly become dependent on being spoon-fed the answer. And in multiple situations, you'll see, like, you guys will ask me a question, I'll give you the answers. But there are certain situations where I don't, and that's a coaching opportunity. That's a leadership opportunity, and I want to make sure that when I do that, that's taken in the right way. It's taken in the tone of what I'm delivering it, which is really, helping people become resourceful. Because one of the things that I've learned, if you keep giving people the answers, they keep asking the fucking questions. But if you at some point you stop giving them the answers and you say, well, what do you think? Well, if you work it out for yourself, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. What are you going to do? That's when all of a sudden people become quite resourceful because they have to work it out for themselves. So, Miles, at the moment, we've got to work this out. We've all got to work it out. The beautiful thing is we have the 4 phases to be able to navigate how we work it out as we work it out. But the reality is we're making this up as we go. Like, let's be clear. This has never happened before. We are making this up as we go. So we have to work it out. Okay? And if we're sitting there being dependent on others to give us the answers, then we might be waiting a long time. This is not a dependent environment. This is not a codependent environment. This is an interdependent environment. This is a self-led, self-initiated environment, self-managed, self-directed. And the reason we become that way is because we developed that intrinsic ability to work shit out. And right now, there's just never been a greater requirement. And Miles, to loop in your question here, the reality is I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. There's going to be an announcement from the government tomorrow. It's going to be a whopper. It's going to affect, I believe, everything from some forms of travel internationally, but also the stimulus and constraints. I'm predicting we're going to see schools being shut. I'm predicting we're probably going to see universities being shut, for a period of time. If not tomorrow, probably I'd say in the next 7 to 14 days. It's just you've just got to take a look at what's going on in the rest of the world. And so by being ahead of the game, by having these contingencies and by being aware of what is happening in Italy, right? Because I have no idea what's going on in Italy. I know what the fuck's going on in Italy. I know what the fuck's going on in Spain. I know what the fuck's going on in China. And the reason I'm so fucking prepared is because I know what the fuck is... Well, let me be clear. I have an idea. I have a concept, a very fucking tiny concept of reality of what's going on. And I'm using that data feed to essentially make decisions so I can get ahead of this. But the reality is we're making this up as we go. Okay, and so all of us have to band together, not just to support each other, because although I said work it out, you guys remember, what else did I say? Work it out, and if you're still unsure, what did I say? Post it in the Facebook group, bro. Like, I got no issue answering the question, but I'd love you to give it a shot to try and work it out yourself first. And then also to loop that in, when we start talking about, looking at potential redundancies and talking about the mission is more important than the people, and, well, what about the people? Look, I care about the people, but how do we serve the people if we drive ourselves into the ground? There's no service by going in and fixing everyone else's mask while we struggle and starve for oxygen ourselves. We've got to make sure that we're right up, because if we're not right up, if you don't take care of yourself to the point where you don't get yourself wiped out, you're not going to be able to come back. You're not going to be able to employ anyone. And if you have a team of 15 people right now and you're freezing on removing 5 because I don't want to let the boys go, you're going to take out all 15. When you could have just, made it a little bit challenging for 5, and I can get it, it's tough. But that's the reality of business, and it's the reality of war. And I know some of you have got that experience as well. And that's why there has to be a mission. That's why the mission has to be selfless. Because if there wasn't a mission, and if the mission wasn't selfless, we'd make it about ourselves. Okay, and for me, that's not what my legacy is about. And nor do I believe should it be for you. I think you should be striving for something greater than just a legacy that's based on self. It should be based on the echo of self. The ripple of self. So Miles and everyone else that we expand on there, I really hope that helps because. Yeah, when I said yesterday, guys, work it out, I certainly wasn't trying to be a fucking prick. I was honestly trying to equip you with okay, I believe I have faith that you have the skills. Now show me.
Right, this is a question from Richard Steinlake. His question is, how do you figure out what a business is worth for potential sale?
There are a number of ways that you can value a business. Best thing for you to do is actually speak to either you can speak to a business broker, but they're basically like a real estate agent. You want to essentially speak to an accountant who's got experience in trading businesses, in selling businesses. Because you've essentially got to look at, first of all, what is your business? What is your industry? What is the level of management involved? What is the level of participation involved by the owner? Because the way your business is valued, there's 101 ways that you can value a business. But fundamentally, most businesses are typically valued about, let's call it 1.5 to maybe 2.5 times cash flow or profit. But again, depending on the industry you're in and the level of management, because if you've got no management in the business and it requires an owner-operator, you might be lucky to get maybe 1, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 times, depending on the business. But if your business is under management, okay, and it doesn't require you to be, then that's actually not a business. It's not a business owner purchase. That's actually a business investment purchase. And that in itself has a greater valuation because I'm not now buying a job as I did before, which might get me 1 times, 1.5, maybe 2 if I'm lucky, but more like 1, 1.5 times. But if it's under management, I might be able to get as much as 3 times valuation, 3 times price to earnings ratio, which is significant in comparison. And that's why, to me, one of the most important aspects of scale is not just for freedom. It's a good insurance policy because if you're out of the business and something happens to you, first of all, it doesn't interrupt the business. But secondly, you've got the option to be able to sell it because it's under management. And what the interesting thing is, a lot of people are saying that it's impossible to do that with a business like mine, as I was saying previously. But I honestly believe that it could be done. I'm just not interested in doing it. And when you look at someone like T-Hub, he actually did do it. He built up his brand and he sold it. But when you sell your brand, especially as a personality, and you give it to someone else and it's in the hands of someone else, then that's your legacy being fucked with without your approval. So yeah, hope that helps.
Another question is from Angela. Question is, what do you suggest we should teach our children academically if the schools close? We have teenagers 15 and 16.
Okay, that's reason to panic. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can get like a distance ed curriculum online. Is that right? Yeah, you can get a distance ed curriculum online. You can sign them up to distance education. I reckon a lot of distance ed businesses and companies right now are going to fucking boom. Yeah, I can check it out, or just I don't know, give them a subscription to Netflix or I don't know, Xbox. This will be interesting. I actually don't have the answer for this one. But I do actually. Good luck.
Right, next question is from Yong. Kerwin, if you were to acquire existing business in 3 to 6 months' time,
Yes.
what type of business would be preferable?
For me personally, one that's under management, one that aligns with my brand, one that is literally under marketed but has massive value props and has incredible customer feedback and retention and repeat business. And a culture that's really strong with leadership that's in place that's been there for a long time. If I can find something like that, I'll invest in it and make you money. Post-revenue. None of this pre-revenue. We'll leave that to the speculators.
Right, so the next question is from Jeremy Biggs. His question is, do you think that this period of innovation will open more global market opportunities?
Will it open other global opportunities? Yes. I think you're going to see a lot more remote workforces. I think you're just about to see one of the biggest gluts in commercial real estate you've ever seen because all these workforces are going to go remote and all these businesses are going to go, holy man, we're paying $1 million a year in rent. And our team worked really well remote. Not only did they work well, Microsoft said they worked 48% better. So I think commercial real estate's about to take a dive. Sorry, the back end of that question was, how do I think it's going to affect K to Elite? I already know. It's going to make us better, stronger, sharper, global. We literally, I'm not joking. We have innovated, I would say at a minimum 12 months. I'm thinking 4 years of innovation. Like that's what it feels like. Let's be conservative. I'm going to say we innovated 2 years of innovation in a matter of 4 hours yesterday. And so for me, there's nothing but good news. And look, there might be some fallout with people saying, oh, well, it's not a live event. And well, if we're not going to do live events, I don't want to, I'm not saying we're not going to do live events. I want to do live events. But we now understand our digital capabilities to be able to deliver this in a global way. You know, we now understand and have the digital capabilities to be able to provide another level of service to, you know, perhaps potentially, if we do this again, K2s in the future, you know, who are constrained either by kids or by finance that want to travel to a destination event or to one of these events that they can't, but they could sit in on this. So this is nothing but fucking good news for K2. And the current environment, like in 2008, I went through a massive, massive boom in 2008. Because here's what I know, when business is tough, they ask for help, okay? And they need help. I'm the best in the business, okay? And when businesses are doing well, they often want to do better, okay? And they're willing to invest in, you know, the best in the business in order to do better. You know, often the reason you guys are here is because you wanted or you did exactly the same thing. And I see that only growing. I see K2 growing. I see K2 becoming, as we're seeing already, more conscious, more exclusive, more refined, most importantly, more self-sustainable. You know, a self-sustainable business model where, you know, I see K2 getting to the point where, you know, we maybe only do one intake a year, and it's super rigorous, okay, and it's super stringent and super hard. And we have a model where we just sustain ourselves internally just by, you know, by having an incredible ecosystem. But at the end of the day, time will tell. But I'm excited. I'll be honest, I'm excited. I'm a little tired, but I'm very, very excited with what's to come. It's just nothing but good news.
This one's from Aaron Mitchell. First, his question: I'm in the four-wheel drive industry, and we're heavily service reliant and centric.
Yeah.
Any suggestions for a transition to digital?
Well, I honestly think with servicing, you're not going to be as affected because, again, people are still going to require services, and there might just be some quarantine measures put in place. But what I'd be doing right now, which is the same advice I'd be giving to everyone, no matter how you think this is going to affect trade, get your digital strategy together, which is film fucking videos. Okay, we've got the frameworks, we've got the processes, we've got the scripts, we've got the trainings, we've got the ebooks. So if you're wondering, what can I do in this moment right now if I can't deliver a service and I may not be able to apply it in a digital way because there's a total lockdown, make videos. But what I'm going to predict is, although there might be lockdown, people will still be able to get certain services. Okay, you're just going to have to, obviously, you and your team take precautions, but you know, there might be obviously a significant drop in business because people don't want to be having, you know, social contact. But still, in that time, you're going to have more time. Film videos. Film videos of you repairing cars. Film videos of you doing things on cars. Film things of you talking about cars. Film you going forward driving. You're going to have some time. We're all going to have some time. And the way that we take advantage of the time, if we think we can't trade, you know, if we're a builder or a carpenter and we can't trade, if there is a restriction, don't just sit there and fucking moan. We got to produce something. And what we're going to produce is something that ultimately, when everything dies down, will give us return. And that is a brand. That is exposure. That is content, okay? Like we literally did a fucking digital strategy in 1 hour and 46 minutes. You're all going to work out a social strategy probably in the next, you know, 24 hours maybe in the next 7 days, but you will have to work it out. We all got to work it out. I'm going to up my game. I'm going to have a lot more time to spend publishing content and social.
This one's from Mark. We've got enough in our warchest to pay for costs for 6 months. What stage would wind up look like to have money to reboot?
Yeah, look, again, that's really a conversation for one of the finance team. That's not really a conversation for me because there's a few intricacies in. Because again, I don't want you guys to be afraid of wind up. Please do not be afraid of wind up, because wind up in the context that I'm talking about it is not waiting until you have to. It's doing it beforehand. Because if you wait until you have to, then that's going to be devastating. It'll be psychologically traumatizing. It will be, you know, it'll become this significant emotional event that will be very hard to come back from. But if you can intuitively, you know, and intellectually, you know, use the data to be able to look at what's going on and go, fuck, I could keep writing this out, but if I pulled the pin now, at least I'd have enough money. Because you might have 6 months worth of business left, but if you pull the pin, let's just say it's 3 months down the track, it's fucking heaps worse. You've got 6 months worth of war chest left. You go, well, I'll just keep trading for 6 months, even though it's getting progressively worse. You might actually consider and go, well, hang on, let me see if I can just wind back to the point of just, or maybe I have to wind up, okay, to the point of neutralizing, but then take those cash reserves, hold them, okay, and now that 6 months of trading is now 18 months of living, because we're no longer paying for cost of business, hopefully, I would assume, because you're not, you know, there would be costs that would be cut out. And then, 3 months later, when the market rebounds, we now have a level of cash that we can now bring back into the market to deploy in order to relaunch, phases 5 through 9, which is going to be required. It's probably going to end up being a 10-phase plan, I'd say, at the end of it. But let's call it 9 phase. And phase 9 is rebuilt, rebranded, and redone.
Right, next question is from Belinda. Her question is, been thinking about the legal aspects of services rendered in a facility. Legal implication obviously needs to be considered. If going remote 100% is not possible, what would you recommend?
Can you give me context? What type of business wouldn't be able to go remote?
She's added some more context to that. She's in a swim school. Legal implication including that swim teachers are required to be physically trained in teaching a child how to swim. And there's been a few cases in the US as well where parents, grandparents have ended up drowning their children due to watching how-to videos online. So what are your recommendations around this, that she can't go legal?
Look,
100%?
personally, I'd be looking for a way, because right now it seems to me you've discovered a whole range of reasons why not to do something. Andy?
Mate, just because there's about 4 or 5 questions, Vanessa's got another one which is very, very similar.
Okay.
I think they're sort of asking for the solution, but have you got a sort of a framework of how to approach if you don't know how to take your business digital?
When you say digital, I think what we need to do is get a little bit of context on what does digital mean. Okay, it means being able to, because right now, some of you taking your business digital might mean you cease providing services if there's a lockdown and you now start pumping out social content. That is becoming digital in one context. Does this make sense, guys? Does this make sense?
Yep.
You guys with me on this? Okay.
Yep.
And so in another aspect, it's then going, well, hang on, I'm a builder. I can't be digital. Or hang on. Oh, who's it? David Bellamy. Oh, I've been digital the whole time. I've been doing quotes and providing services off the back of photos. Oh, fuck, I am digital. That's another aspect. Then it's going, well, I have a $2 shop and I'm only selling to people who come into my store. And, well, hang on, I've just launched a Shopify site now. And, if I can generate some traffic through my quirky sense of humor and the videos on social media, then maybe I can pick up some sales and maybe I can get the equivalent or even more, through drop shipping, from my $2 shop. We've just got to look at the parameters of what we can do within the realms of what we have. What we don't want to do is just sit there and spin our wheels. Now, we've got a whole bunch of fucking webinars coming out, the wazoo, around going digital. But I do really encourage you to post in the group your question around this, because as I said, I'm going to give you just one perspective. We've got 400 people in the group, 3,000 or 4,000 in the graduates area, and you're going to be able to, like what David did yesterday, because everyone was going building and trade. No one in building and trade can do digital, and then David goes, well, oh, fuck, I've been digital for 10 months, didn't even realize. Okay, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who go, well, no, that's just not possible. But David might be able to probably provide some insight if someone was to ask that question on a thread. So I think what we should really do right now is, if there is some confusion around that, let's just start asking some questions. Like, let's get some fodder going, which will produce some data that we can then look at to find out where the gaps are, to then do some webinars for you guys. But let's get the conversation going at a community level, because right now, we've got a one service trade person who's providing online stuff and maybe 5 who don't, and we could bring those people together and provide a solution that, I'm not going to fucking know about. And by me saying, work it out, you guys will come up with this strategy that's better than anything I could fucking pull out my ass.
Awesome. So we have one from Tyus again. Can you give us some ideas on how to create the same authentic connection, personal growth, and personal breakthroughs in digital events like we do in the in-person ones?
Well, I'm working that out as we speak. Give me a couple of months, I'll come back to you. But apparently, like the feedback we've seen online so far, unless you guys are pissing in our pocket, am I right here, Tyson? The feedback's been phenomenal, like phenomenal. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. Is a digital event ever going to supersede a live event? No. That's like saying, is a CD ever going to be better than a fucking rock concert? No. Okay, is watching a DVD ever going to be better than going to the movies? No. Okay, it's just different. Okay. And although the movie business isn't as big as it's not as big as what it once was. Okay, now Netflix is huge, and videos that were big were now bust. This is fantastic. This is brilliant. This is going to make us very smart.
Right, next question is from Josh. At what stage do you predict will be the time to jump on new opportunities? I'm hungry for opportunity.
Just wait, bro. Be patient. I don't fucking know. I'll tell you when I do. I'll tell you when I'm acting. But right now, I'm just sitting and wait and watch. 3 months and 4 days. Well, actually, someone, we'll see. How funny would that be?
Okay, here's a question from Rizal. Her question is, I just want to ask again, what is Kerwin's view on investing on cryptocurrency, gold and silver, and putting money in an online bank rather than the traditional bank?
Gold, silver, got no idea. Crypto, don't really have any idea. I hold on to some Bitcoin. Online banking, I'm more interested in, solid banks with AAA credit ratings that, are heavily backed by governments. It's my favorite kind of bank. So if that online bank is, then maybe do your research. I'm data driven when it comes to banking. We out of questions? Guys, fantastic. What an incredible time to be alive. And my last but not least question, what are you most grateful for? I'd love to know that. Because I think sometimes in situations of stress, we focus on the thing that gives us the stress. We talk about how to regulate and how to manage stress, and we talk about that process. But one of the most powerful parts of that process is just focusing on the things that we're grateful for, because that in itself produces, an elevation in DHEA, counteracts that biochemical and that neurochemical response to just help balance out our brain and all of our systems. So we have a greater sense of coherence and maybe even a little bit more homeostasis. So yeah, think about that. Like, what are you really genuinely grateful for? What are you really genuinely, really, really appreciative of right now?